were gathered together and comparing stories of some of their conversations that they've had with customers that just make your head shake. One of them had a client call in who wanted to fly to Pepsi-Cola on a computer plane. Do you mean Pensacola on a commuter plane? Whatever. And then there was the customer who insisted that they wanted to fly from Chicago to Hippopotamus, New York. Hippopotamus, New York? Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Hippopotamus, New York. Well, the agent searched through every single airport code for the whole country and said, I'm sorry, but there is no airport in any place called Hippopotamus. Don't be silly. Everybody knows hippopotamus. Look again. So this time, the agent just stared at a map of New York State until they finally asked the customer, did you mean buffalo? Oh, yes. I knew it was a large animal. And then there was one customer who wanted to vacation in Hawaii. But when they heard the information about how much the flight was going to cost, they said, you know, I think I just want to go to California, and then from there I want to take the train. I guess sometimes we just want what we want. My husband sometimes makes fun of me when we're at a restaurant and I'm ordering because I want my meal a specific way. I don't like the peppers or the onions, so they can keep that in the kitchen. And I want the mild sauce, not the spicy sauce, and sometimes I might want the dressing on the side. He says I'm picky. I think I just know what I want and the way I want it, and shouldn't I have it that way? Well, sometimes we can. Sometimes we can have dressing on the side. But sometimes there just isn't a train that's going to take you to Hawaii. In Luke's gospel today, there is lots of wanting. Everybody wants something. In the beginning, there are some Pharisees who want to warn Jesus that Herod wants to kill him. Now, there were some Pharisees who were supporters of Jesus at this time, but there also were plenty who were not. And we're not sure which Pharisees this group was in. And so we don't know what they wanted by warning Jesus. Did they want to keep him safe? Or did they want him to get out of town a little faster? Or did they just want to mess with him? And as for Herod, well, if he truly wanted to have Jesus killed, he would have his opportunity in a not-so-distant future, on what we now call Good Friday, when Jesus would come before him. But at that time, Herod would choose that he did not want to sign Jesus' death warrant. Maybe out of politics, or maybe out of fear, he instead sent Jesus back to Pontius Pilate. And as we're looking at this gospel, we hear Jesus looking at those he is with and lamenting. How he wants to gather them, like a mother hen would gather her chicks. He wants to guide those in Jerusalem, to protect them, to care for them, to nourish them. And yet they are not willing because they do not want to be gathered. Now, it's easy for us to look at their actions and scoff, like to play Monday morning quarterback and discuss how we think that they should have paid attention to Jesus. They should have listened to Jesus. They should have gone running to Jesus like a chick to its mother. Because we certainly hope that we would have. But we have to remember that those people, they all wanted something too. They wanted a government free from Roman oppression. They wanted a Messiah that had been so long awaited to come in with an army and kick a little Roman butt. They wanted peace. And they didn't think that was going to happen with them rocking the boat. And they wanted status. They wanted to be looked upon kindly by those who were in power. I don't know that they were being picky. They just wanted what they wanted the way they had always envisioned it. And Jesus did not fulfill their expectations. What about us? What do we want? I think most of us want a sense of security. We want to know that there is a safety net that is there to catch us. We want to trust that the future is worth hoping for. And I think we also want to be important. We want to make a difference in this world. We want to leave our stamp on it. We want our life to serve a purpose. And because of the human condition, I think that most of us also want to connect. We want those intimate relationships that bond with family and friends, to love and be loved. And then we also want power and wealth and prestige and control. We want what we want the way we want it, when, where, and with whom we want it. We want to go to Hawaii, but we want to take the train. Sometimes our wants are incompatible. Such was the case for those who Jesus was speaking with that day. And such may be the case for us today. I wonder how centuries from now others might Monday morning quarterback our lives. Might they remark on how we did not allow ourselves to be gathered? How we didn't take opportunities right before us to obtain what we wanted that might have been what Jesus wanted for us. Opportunities to share our time, our talents, and our possessions. Things that would make a difference in someone's life. Things that might change the world. But we don't want to because maybe it's not convenient for us, or we just want to hold on to that which we have worked so hard to obtain. Opportunities to truly connect, to listen, to understand, to look at things from a new perspective and really bond with someone, to really love. But we don't want to because, well, it's not on our timeline. And maybe it's not the person that we had in mind of connecting with. And opportunities to take risks, to spend quiet time in prayer, to change, to accept grace. But we don't want to, because we don't want to be open and vulnerable, and we're too busy, and we don't feel worthy to receive. Jesus wants to gather us in. Jesus wants us to know that we belong, that we are loved and forgiven, and to guide us on the right paths. But sometimes I think we don't want to be gathered, not so much because we don't want Jesus' instruction or guidance, but because if we allow ourselves to be gathered, that means we have to accept that we belong and we are loved and we are forgiven. And for those of us who don't always feel worthy, that can be really hard. But the good news is that just as Jesus told those who were warning him about Herod that he wasn't going to leave before he was done, Jesus is never done with us. Jesus will stay by our side, waiting until we want to be gathered. So it's up to us. We can choose to keep seeking our wants in places other than Jesus, to keep searching for railroads, or we can allow ourselves to be gathered. We can wait at the station for a train that is never going to take us where we really want to go and doesn't really even exist. Or we can fly. Amen.